because of confidentiality and just respecting personal boundaries and all that stuff, I'm not going to use her real name. So I'm not going to use her real name at all. I'm just going to call her Daisy. I'm going to call her Daisy. So Daisy is this person I met. Let me back up a little bit. I have really high standards because of Tim Ferriss, because of the world class stuff. I mean, I've learned how to learn in a way that very few people learn how to learn. And that's the only reason why the last 4 years of self-guided education has actually proven 100 times more valuable than college education, is because of Tim Ferriss, because of these world class things. I encourage you to check out his website as well. There's a link there. So I'm world class. I'm phenomenal. I control my ego. I don't like to boast very much. The only thing I take pride in is in a job well done. If I do something good, pat myself on the back, that's actually part of the core values in the success program. That's called gratitude. And I have gratitude for myself when I do a good job. That's a healthy thing, and I have a little bit of ego about that. I have a little bit of ego about that, especially when it comes to my writing, because I'm a very good writer. Because there are two things I know more than anything else in the world. One of those is psychology, the second of which is copywriting. I've written hundreds of phenomenal advertisements based on about 10 of the absolute best copywriters in the entire history of the industry itself, including the people who first described what it was they were doing. Gary Halbert, Robert Bly, Ray Edwards. I think Charles Schwab was one of them. Robert Collier. Another one that changed my. So the last 4 years I've had self-guided education. I've also had salesmanship experience. 4 years of salesmanship experience. And at the beginning of those 4 years, right at the get-go, and partly inspired by Ty Lopez, I encourage you to check out his channel. I started buying books. He's like, go straight to the top. Go straight to the top is one of his things. Oh, I just did a Google search one day and I said, who's the best salesperson of all time? And the name came up. How to Master the Art of Selling. He wrote a book. He did sales first, and then he did seminars about his sales training. And then at the end of his career, just like Dale Carnegie and Napoleon Hill, he wrote this book. A lot of these guys that's what people don't have respect for the books. The reason there's a reading list at all is because the books and the authors who wrote them, they deserve your respect, in my opinion. Respect is one of my core principles. It's kind of worked into STL Pareto as well. But these guys spent their entire life, I'm talking about their life, 50 years, 60 years, developing these theories and ideas about life and how it made sense to them. And that's like sitting down with, that those were the smartest people of their time. Those are the books that are left. Those were the smartest people of their time. And they spent their entire lives. So anyway, Think and Grow Rich is a good one. I highly recommend it. It's on the reading program. I mean, it's on the reading list. Um, and Tim Ferriss inspired my world class way of learning. And I think I probably learned about Tim Ferriss and Tai Lopez at the same time. Tai Lopez had a little bit more of an impact on me personally, but in a different way. Like they were both monumentally impactful people. This girl is pretty much the reason I'm in St. Louis right now. I was ready to leave St. Louis. I had packed up everything in my car because I found out how much I really enjoy driving for Uber Eats, which I, just call driving for Uber because it's the same company. Now I have a two-door automobile, and because of that, I am unable of transporting people. I can only drive the food delivery, Uber Eats, but I'll just call it driving for Uber. I realized I really enjoy that. I really enjoy being my own boss, and I could never, absolutely never go back. I just couldn't ever, ever, never go back because I like being my own boss. I like it more than ever having any sort of boss or authority over me. And frankly, I'm ready to have that sort of barrier upgraded because there's always a bigger fish. There's always someone smarter than you. There's always someone making more money faster than you, and that's not a bad thing at all. You want there to be people smarter than you because those are the people you learn from. And as you move up, as I'm moving up too, I realize I'm ready to reach out there for new mentors and new sources of inspiration. Inspiration is a basic fundamental requisite for life, in my opinion. Inspiration to enjoy the day, inspiration to have enthusiasm about life and like where you're going and where you're coming from, too. Anyway, I'd spent my whole life here in St. Louis, 3 years old. I was actually born in Nebraska. So my dad grew up in Hecker, Illinois, and he was born in Redbud, Illinois. And my mom grew up in Alton, Illinois, and Godfrey, Illinois. My dad was born in 1969. My mom was born in 19. Oh wait. Don't ever say that, ever, ever, ever. So I feel a lot older than I actually am. I'm 24 in February 9th, Aquarius. So that's my birthday, and February 9th. But I'm 24. Um, I don't feel 24 at all. I feel like on the inside I'm about 35 or so, or 45 or so, or 55 or so. One of them three is about how I feel on the inside of my heart, and on the inside of my brain. And it has to do with all the learning that's taken place for me. That's made me such a more phenomenal person, and it also makes me feel more well developed. I really don't connect easily with people my age. People in their 20s are people that I have a difficult time connecting with. And connection is one of those basic needs as well, of the quadrants of love. And the reason I say it's a basic need is because love is a basic need. It's pretty basic that love is a basic need. So inspiration is something that I have from mentors and authors of books that I read. And then connection, though, who do I have connection with? So I really have a difficult time having connection with people in their 20s. And it's because of all my learning. It's because I'm extraordinary, which you'll see if you keep watching the video and you see what's at the end at 3B, but that's a little bit later on. I've lived here my whole life. I was ready to leave. I wanted to explore. I wanted to get out. I figured I'd go one or two places. I'd either go to Chicago or I'd go to Kansas City. And I would just pick one of them places. I would just pick one of them places and go. And I'll drive my car. And then when I get there, I will like sleep in my car for like a week or two and then find a place, get an apartment and just live there. And that was pretty much how I felt because I wanted to leave the whole place. Because the whole place just reminded me of somehow not receiving what it was I wanted to receive. I felt like, I mean, I don't know if you believe in there being some sort of a, like in terms of like God, some people believe in God, some people don't. Some people believe there's like something, but they don't want to call it God. At any rate, I felt like there was some sort of calling that I was ready to leave St. Louis and explore a new territory of my life and journey on was my philosophy. And I was preparing to leave St. Louis. I had the day planned on Saturday. I knew which day it would be, and because of meeting Daisy, I'm still here 4.5 months later. Like I said, I'm a bookworm. I like to read. If you get on my website and you see the reading list, it's not completely finished yet. But the reason is, that's another good one. Here it is. This one. The spontaneous fulfillment of desire. And it explains something called power of coincidence. Coincidence. Harnessing the infinite power of coincidence. What he's explaining here is that coincidence simply means a thing that coincides. So whatever God is or whatever God can be, I feel connected with it, and it has to do a little bit with this book, The Spontaneous Fulfillment of Desire. He explains something called non-locality, and there's another one called the non-local universe, which explains non-locality a little further. But this is the one that has the practicality of it and why it actually matters to you. Because I can tell you it's definitely changed my life. So anyway, that took place with that girl Daisy, and I knew it was like I felt like God was calling me to leave, and then because of meeting her, I felt like he was calling me to pivot and stay in St. Louis and just sit down. So that's what I did.